Sham. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is your Vedic astrology coach Rajat Kapoor and welcome to my channel The Legit Astrologer. In my channel I make videos on Vedic astrology, I talk about transits. It is that time of the year and Saturn, the Karam Karak, Shani, the most beautiful planet of the solar system, is going retrograde in the very devotional sign of Pisces. This is happening on 13th of July and Saturn's going to go retrograde till 27th of November. So for about 138 days of this year, Saturn is going to go retrograde. On 28th of November, it is going to move in a direct motion. Now let's talk about how this transit is going to have an impact on all 12 ascendant signs or the moon signs. At the physical level, you must read this from your ascendant sign. At the mental level, you can also read this from your moon sign. Aries ascendant signs or the Aries moon signs. Now Saturn becomes your 10th lord and the 11th lord. It is an important planet for you, but it shares an inimical relationship with your Lagna lord Mars. Saturn always has a revenge towards your Lagna lord Mars because Mars is the one who likes to beat Saturn. Mars gets exalted in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. Saturn gets debilitated in Aries, which is ruled by Mars. Therefore, Saturn doesn't like Mars. This Saturn has been making a transit in your 12th house in the sign of Pisces that happened early this year. It is going to apply for the next 2.5 years. Now in July, Saturn is going to go retrograde in the sign of Pisces. So the lord of your 10th house, which is your profession, your actions in the society, your work, your karma bhav, we see your job, businesses of all kind from the 10th house, what you do to survive and sustain yourself in this world. Saturn also rules your 11th house of gains, your wider social network, your friends, also opposition, bigger opposition. 11th house is also the house of illusion. It is the house of Maya. It is the house of worldly matters, material comforts, material gains, your sense of influence, recognition. So to get workplace success and recognition, Saturn plays a very important role. Saturn's message is also the fact that you work towards your family because its home is in Capricorn. Its office space, which is Mool Trikon, is in Aquarius, which is second from Capricorn. So work towards your family for the welfare of your family. This is the key message that Saturn gives you. Now, Shani Dev is going to go retrograde or Vakri in your 12th house. So what is happening here? Firstly, it is looking back at your 11th house. So it is looking back and re-evaluating the matters related to 11th house. So you could have some sort of agreement with your friends, with the wider social network, some sort of conflict that you would like to resolve. Momentarily, I will advise you to be very careful while posting on social media, while venting out your emotions on social media, because you are likely to have an emotional outburst kind of a situation because your emotions will see extremity over the next few months. From a material gains point of view, this could be a good time because Saturn will help you have gains related to your workplace. Regardless of your dasha, antardasha or what you're running, it will perhaps make you think of newer ways of increasing your income or having a secondary source of income because we see a sense of income from the 11th house. And when Saturn is looking back at your 11th house, firstly, it is the significator or the karaka of the 12th house. It will increase your spiritual practice. It will increase your spiritual sadhana. So if you have any kind of spiritual discipline, at least I would advise you to spend about 30 minutes every day in any spiritual practice, meditation, yoga, sadhana. These are the best remedies for you, regardless of whatever religion you follow. Each and every religion does have certain significance about meditation, right? So that is something which should become a practice because you will be able to perfect, you will be able to make it a habit over the next few months. Now, second thing that Saturn is doing, it is having a very strong aspect on your 6th house, the sign of Virgo. This Saturn momentarily for about 138 days is behaving as if it's making a transit in the sign of Virgo, which is a friendly sign for Saturn. So it wants you to put your hard work, your power of labor, efforts in terms of 6th house matters, which is your daily routine. You need to fix what you do on a day-to-day basis. We also see job from the 6th house. So this time period could create favorable circumstances for a job change or getting a new job. That could be better for you because Saturn towards the end of the day is your 10th lord and is going to behave as if it's moving through the sign of Virgo and it is having a very strong aspect of desire on your 6th house. You would need to really overcome the weaknesses of your mind. Okay, Shad Ripus is what we call in Vedic terms. If there are any loans, any debts, you should be able to repay them over the next few weeks. If you have any sort of litigation from the past, that might come again. You will have to take some actions, you will have to take some calls with regards to any litigation that you have from your past. And this time period could also support you hugely when it comes to growth related matters, because 6th house is the Upachaya Bhava and we see growth. Saturn is the significator of 6th house, it is also a significator of 12th house. So, your 12-6 axis, when this is active, this time period could bring in journeys outside of your home country. If you're looking forward to settling outside, traveling, over the next few months, it could create a positive circumstance for positive circumstances or situation for you to move outside, for you to pursue any paperwork that is pertaining to your travel. You will have a renewed focus on your health and well-being. This time period calls for a regular routine health checkup. That is something which is mandatory for you. Otherwise, you could have digestive issues, you could have other health issues, and of course, that would need attention. So, the next few months, health should be your number one priority. Second should be your work. And of course, financial matters are going to improve. You would likely repay any debts, any litigation that you have. You could momentarily have a bit of success, but that could continuously be a cause of concern over the next few months. And this is something which you have to watch out for. Remedy Jupiter, who's your 12th Lord and the 9th Lord. Do mantras, prayers related to Jupiter. Strengthen Jupiter in any manner in your chart to gain the most of this transit and avoid any extravagance or overindulgence. Give up bad habits and embrace good habits. This is quite a good time for you to make a 180-degree change in your lifestyle. Taurus ascendant signs or the Taurus moon signs. So what's happening? Saturn has been going direct in the sign of Pisces. It has momentarily picked up the pace. Now it is time for Saturn to slow down. So one key message for you is to slow down, right? You have been probably running at a pace. It is very important for us to take a pause, slow down, reflect, introspect, and then rejuvenate, recharge our energy so that we can get back on track and we can progress further. So this is a very important message that Saturn is bringing, because it is a Yoga Karaka or the most favorable planet for you, because this rules your 10th house and the 11th house. Over the last few months, you would have had a lot of ideas in terms of what you want to achieve in your life. Maybe you would be thinking or trying to live some of your biggest dreams. Somehow the pace has increased in your life and it is causing a continuous amount of stress. Now is the time for you to relax, take a step back. See, this is your 9th Lord and the 10th Lord. Saturn rules dharma as well as karma for you. So it is a lot of bhagya, fortune, long journeys, higher education, spiritual education, your belief system, your lineage is seen from the 9th house, your father is seen from the 9th house, your dharma is seen from the 9th house. And Saturn is also your 10th Lord of work, profession, your actions in the society, what you do to survive and sustain in this world. So your bhagya and also your actions both are seen from Saturn. And Saturn is a very hard-working planet because it has got the power of labor. And this is the only graha that gives you or anyone the power of labor, which is the biggest asset to have in order to succeed. Because towards the end of the day, luck is only 10%, 90% it is labor, and that's something you mustn't forget. Saturn has been making a direct motion in your 11th house. Now it is going to go retrograde on 13th of July. So it is looking back firstly at your 10th house. So it wants you to re-evaluate, reassess your workplace situation, where you are at the moment, and take some corrective steps. You will probably come across a decision that you took about 4 or 5 months ago, okay, March, April, some decisions you took, and you would like to re-evaluate some of those decisions. You would like to re-engage with some people you met in the past. You would want to re-engage with your ex-colleagues, ex-managers, and of course your co-workers. And you will also come across with old friends and try to establish or reconnect with some of your old friends. So you would go on reunions. This is quite a prominent time. If you have a chance to probably move back to one of your old employers or connect with people who you used to work with, this could be a good time for you. You could reach out to them. You could make some corrections in your work related matters. Certain mistakes that you made in the past, you learned from those mistakes. Now is the time to put those corrective actions into an implementation stage. That should be your strategic approach over the next 4 to 5 months, because the time period calls for work related improvement. There could be a change as well that could trigger during the retrograde motion, because it has a greater impact on your 10th house. Of course, it is having an impact on the 11th house as well. Saturn in transit does very well in the 11th house. It is one of the Upachaya Bhavas. Saturn apparently does the best in the 11th house. It forms a nice yoga there. So it will create opportunities for gain, it will give you wealth, but you need to correct some of your decisions and actions. That is very important for you, right? So your 11 and 5 axis is pretty active. Saturn is having a very strong aspect on your 5th house. So this Saturn will behave momentarily as if it's Saturn in the sign of Virgo, but it is still making a transit in your 11th house. So this means it isn't friendly sign momentarily. It feels at ease being in a retrograde motion, which is good for Saturn. It is a very karmic planet, so it is also bringing in unfulfilled purpose from the previous birth related to your friends, gains, your work, and also your future and children, because it is connected to your 5th house. It has a very strong aspect there. Next few months, mid-July onwards, is a very good time for you to set some goals, because the goals that you will set, whether it is related to your lifestyle, whether it is related to your job, if you were to probably achieve a dream job or probably start a business or establish something new, this could be an excellent time for you to manifest all these things, because you will have a natural tendency to put this power of labor in future planning. We also see progress, positional success from the 5th house. And any mantras that you use are going to work brilliantly for you over the next few months. If it is mantra related to Mercury, the Bij mantra of Buddha, that is going to work very well. If this is a mantra related to Lord Vishnu, that could work very well for you. A simple mantra will be excellent for you, that is Om Vishnave Namah. This will support you in wealth related matters and also try to put back your work on track. But the key message is slow down. Spend some time reflecting, spend some time in increasing your mindfulness, take a break, focus on your health and well-being. That definitely needs a priority. You could have some opposition as well, but you will be able to overcome that opposition. There could be ego, there could be inflated ego, which could have a detrimental effect on your personal relationship. So this period might be mixed when it comes to personal relationship, because you might not have the kind of love or affection towards your partner over the next few months, but I don't see any serious repercussions when it comes to relationship, because momentarily you will have a cold approach, you will have a detached approach towards your relationship. And with friends it could be good, especially you could reconnect with some people, take someone's advice who you trust, have a trusted advisor, someone who you could reach out to and perhaps discuss your problems and seek certain solutions, and I wish you the very best. Gemini ascendant signs or the Gemini moon signs. So what is happening? Saturn has been going direct in Pisces since the last few months in your 10th house. Recently it has picked up the pace. Now it is time for Saturn to slow down much more than usually its pace will be, because when a planet goes retrograde, it turns its motion really slow, and gradually retrograde is a slow motion, it's slow pace till it goes direct again end of November. That is how it is going to be. And yes, this is happening for 138 days. 1/3 of Saturn's transit, it is retrograde. So 1/3 of the people in the world will have a retrograde Saturn. It brings karmic repercussions, unfulfilled purpose from the previous birth. It has a very high sense of desire. Saturn is your 8th lord and the 9th lord. So firstly, yes, it is the 9th lord. So it's bhagyesh for you. It's the lord of your fortune, long distance journey, higher education, spiritual education, your sense of lineage, your upbringing, your value system. It is the dharma bhava. And there is nothing bigger than dharma in our life. It is the path towards righteousness. It is the biggest and the highest trikon or the trinal bhav. Therefore, Saturn plays a very important role for Gemini ascendants. It also becomes your 8th lord. So, it has a dual lordship. Being the 8th lord, it rules longevity. It rules suddenness in your life. Its time period could be unsettling, could bring frequent changes, movement of places, travel across the seas, distant places, coming across with unknown people, people from different cultures. So all these things Saturn could probably bring in if you go through its major periods or sub periods. So this Saturn has been making a transit in your 10th house of work, your profession, your actions in the society. This is one of the Rajya Bhavas, because we see king like success from the 10th house. It is the highest Kendra house. So it holds a great importance. It is also the Upachaya Bhava. So we see growth from this house. We also see free will from this house, because 3, 6, 10 and 11, these are also houses of free will. So how confident we are, our self-assurance, self-esteem, ego, work knowledge and our ability to leverage the power of labor also sits in this house. So the biggest message that Saturn has for you is that it is giving you the power of labor for the next 2.5 years when it comes to work. A massive work shift. Doing something which you've always wanted to do, this is your time. So it's like now or never kind of a situation. This time period, Saturn is looking back at your 9th house, firstly, being retrograde. So some reflections you will have for decisions that you took between February through April. Right, certain outcomes that you made and of course decisions that you made, now is the time to reevaluate in terms of why you took those decisions and what is going to be your plan of action, and more or less implementing that plan of action. So Saturn is trying to reevaluate your bhagya, your fortune. So it's quite favorable when it comes to elevation of your fortune. See, because 90% it is the power of labor, your effort, your work. 10% is luck. Be it anything. Be it your work, be it your health and well-being, luck will only have 10% weightage here. 90% is in your hands, your lifestyle, your choices in terms of what you consume, what you eat, how your life is. Now Saturn is definitely trying to elevate your bhagya because it has the power of labor in your 9th house. It will ask you to probably check with your father, right? Make sure that you're in touch, make sure that you have regular communication, make sure that you reach out to them, and of course it could be a spiritual guru, your teacher, your mentor, so make sure you stay connected with them. It's an excellent time to learn something new because this time period calls for higher learning. Spiritual learning could also be good, or formal higher education can also be good. So for those students who are pursuing for higher education, masters, PhD, so masters is what we see from the 9th house, PhD we see from the 2nd house, right? So this time period could be favorable for you because it is giving you the power of labor. Comparative examinations, any government related work that you have, any authority related work. So you will improve relationship with your bosses, with leaders, with people who have authority. Because in the past you might have had some issue. Some authoritative individuals, some people with influence can help you in terms of work related matters. So if you have some connections, make sure that you reach out to them. For those people who've been looking forward to or probably wanting to settle outside of the home country, this time period could help you move some paperwork. See, because 4th house is your home. Saturn is in the 10th house, which is 7th. And now it is looking back at a 9th house, which is long distance journey. Alright, distant places. Saturn is also having a 7th aspect on the 4th house, a very strong aspect on the 4th house. It wants you to focus a lot on your mindfulness, on spiritual sadhana, on things that make you feel happy, that make you feel content. So quite honestly, 138 days of Saturn's retrograde is your time to do something, to initiate something that you should be doing, where you get a sense of fulfillment, right? Because 10th house really matters a lot when it comes to work which is fulfilling enough. If it is fulfilling enough, other things follow, because if you enjoy doing something, you will have the ability to make finances, you will have the ability to probably take care of your needs and of course your loved ones as well. And this time period is also good from a relationship point of view because you will be more grounded. When Saturn goes retrograde in the 10th house, it kills your ego. It makes you very humble, very respectful to others. So you will be polite, you will be respectful, you will be humble. Momentarily, you will be non-egoistic. Otherwise, when it is direct, till then it will inflate your ego. But now is the time to take a pause, reflect, rejuvenate, go on spiritual journeys, go on travel. It is looking back at your ninth house. Take a spiritual retreat, go to places of worship, go to spiritual places where you believe and take certain blessings. Strengthen your Lagna Lord Mercury, because this Saturn is behaving as if it's in the sign of Virgo. Use a simple mantra, that is Om Namo Narayanaya, to channelize both Saturn as well as Mercury over the next few months. Cancer ascendant signs or the Cancer moon signs. It is that time of the year when Saturn, Shani, the slowest planet, the coldest planet of them all, is going retrograde or Vakri in the sign of Pisces, which is happening on 13th of July. Until 27th of November 2025, it is going to go retrograde for 138 days. So 1/3 of the year Saturn is retrograde. It is going to bring in karmic repercussions, unfulfilled purpose from the previous birth. When it goes retrograde, it has high cheshtabal, which is a high amount of desire. Saturn loves growth, but this is slow growth because it naturally has the Upachaya aspects, 3rd aspect and 10th aspect from its position. So it's a planet of growth, but this growth comes slow. This 3rd aspect and 10th aspect are, from a distance point of view, it has a greater visibility. If you look at the solar system, Saturn is very far and it likes to have a bigger reach. So 10th aspect, which is the biggest reach which Saturn has. Okay, its Mool Trikona, or the office space, is Aquarius, which symbolizes, of a man who's carrying a large vessel of water, and that is linked to mountains. Aquarius sign is linked to mountains, so it is walking very slow. So those are the kind of places where Saturn likes to work, isolated places, slow pace, carrying a jar or a bucket or a vessel of water, and of course climbing, working very hard. For you, Saturn is your 7th lord and the 8th lord. Moon is not inimical to any of the planet, but Saturn doesn't share a very conducive relationship with Moon. It's your 7th lord of Jaya Bhava, your peace and war. Those people who are opposite to you, your outer view of people, things and events, how you deal with them, how you orient yourself towards other people. It does not necessarily indicate your spouse, it indicates many other people as well. It indicates businesses and all kinds of partnership that are related to business. Any agreements that you get into, your behavior towards other people. 1st house is your own space. 7th house is the opposite. So it represents distant places as well. It represents places which are outside of your home. It could be outside of home country as well. Saturn is also your 8th lord of places across the sea. It represents longevity, your sense of dealing with uncertain times, because this brings suddenness, sudden ups, sudden downs, sudden transformation, deep transformation. It has a lot of depth. This Saturn has been going in your 9th house in the sign of Pisces, in Jupiter's sign. Saturn does very well in the sign of Pisces, but it does not do well when it is in trinal houses. Here the remedy comes from Mars, because in the day lord sequence, Mars is placed 6th in sequence from Saturn, because it's Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, Sun, Moon and Mars. The remedy comes from Mars. When Saturn is retrograde in the 9th house, you will question your dharma, you will question your understanding, your lineage. Read one of the ancient scripture, whatever you believe in. I would encourage you to read Bhagavad Gita, because it does give you very good knowledge, and that is an ultimate remedy for all Cancer ascendant signs or the moon signs to try to bring your life back on track, to elevate, support your bhagya, to ensure that you have a smooth transformation. You must read something good that gives you good learning, that gives you good life lessons to implement from a karmic standpoint. Saturn is looking back at your 8th house. So you will reevaluate some decisions you took between March through April, right? And you would like to implement those decisions, your actions. So Saturn promotes transformation. It will bring in suddenness, but it will bring in a sense of harmony momentarily in your relationship. So it is working well for relationship. 7th lord, when it makes a transit in the 9th house or placed in the 9th house, it's not good for marriage, it's not good for relationship, but momentarily this Saturn is going to bring in a sense of your power of labor will go in relationship. You will start putting more efforts. You will be more conscious about your surroundings. You will be more considerate about the likings and dislikings of your partner, and you will try to demonstrate more care, more compassion when it comes to relationship. You need to own your transformation. You need to be prepared for any suddenness. But this Saturn is promoting a healthy, happy living. It is promoting good health over the course of next few weeks, because it's your 8th lord towards the end of the day. It's making a transit in the 9th house of Bhagya, and it is looking back at the 8th house. This Saturn has a very strong 7th aspect on your 3rd house, which is the house of change, journeys. Journey doesn't necessarily mean travel, it means starting something new as well. So your 9-3 axis is pretty active. You could very well start something new. It could be a new line of work. This time period brings change, because the 9-3 axis is all about change. Go on a spiritual retreat, because your 3rd house, 9th house, 8th house are pretty active. 9th house and 8th house definitely play a very important role in spirituality. 3rd house plays a role in journey, in Upadesha, Guru's Upadesha, blessings of your mentor, blessings of your Guru, because this Saturn will behave as if it's Saturn in the sign of Pisces, which is friendly sign to Saturn. So get some blessings, message or teachings from your mentor, teacher, your idol or a Guru during this time. You will probably move in the right direction. And of course, there will be high sense of desires, because Saturn has a strong aspect on the 3rd house. This is something you will have to channelize. Any efforts that you will put, you will have the power of labor. You will not shy away from putting these efforts. Sometimes you will feel that you are unnecessarily putting in more efforts, but that is okay, right? Look up to Mars. Mangal is something that you need to strengthen during this time. Work out, exercise, stay active all through the time. Keep yourself hydrated, drink enough water, and try to read something good. If you read Bhagavad Gita, that is going to be quite excellent for you. Leo ascendant signs or the Leo moon signs. So what is happening now on 13th of July, it's a big day. Saturn's going retrograde. First 2 or 3 days it will be in a stationary position, stationary motion, and around end of November, also last week, it will be in an even more powerful stationary position when it will move from retrograde to a direct motion. So these are karmically very strong positions for Saturn. It has high Chestable. It is in the friendly sign of Pisces, and depending on the placement of Jupiter, the strength it holds in your chart, we could have further assessment of results. But this Saturn is in a very good disposition. It has made a transit in your 8th house. So if it's from your Lagna, it will bring very good transformation. If it is from your moon, then momentarily it will bring challenges, certain problems or obstacles in your work, in your job. But momentarily this is happening for greater good, because it wants you to put yourself in a better position, at a better place, in a better job, where the environment is good, where you could do the right kind of things, where it is more fulfilling for you, and it also supports your transformation. It also supports your learning. And this is something which you must understand and accept. Now in the 8th house, Saturn is said to be the significator or the Karaka of the 8th house. So if it is from your ascendant, it is mostly good, because this is where Saturn is going to promote longevity. It is going to support longer, happier, healthier life. This 2.5 year cycle is very important for you to bring a complete shift in your lifestyle, in the way you look at things. See, Saturn shares an inimical relationship with your Lagna Lord Surya. Surya doesn't hate Saturn, because Saturn is towards the end of day Surya's son. But Saturn doesn't like Surya, it has an inimical relationship. So it will bring in unnecessary changes. It is going to bring in deep, sudden transformation, and that's something which you have to deal with. And I would always advise you to strengthen your Surya. But from a strength point of view, besides being retrograde, it's not in a very strong state when it goes in the 8th house. So it will reduce some of these obstacles. It will help you overcome your enemies, because Saturn is your 6th lord, 6th lord of Shadripus, your daily routine, things that you do on a day-to-day basis, your health and well-being, debts, diseases. 6th lord, firstly making transit in the 8th house, is a Viparita yoga in transit. Circumstances do go adverse. Eventually you will rise. Now when it is a Vipreet Yoga and this Saturn is going retrograde, it is karmically good because it's in a negative house and it is going retrograde. So it makes it a bit positive for about 138 days. This Saturn is looking back at your 7th house of partnership, those people who are opposite to you, your sense of dealing with a peace kind of a situation and also a war kind of a situation, your ability and how you orient yourself towards the outer world of people, things and events. So the power of Libra is looking back at your 7th house of business, partnership, agreements, your married life, or of course marital harmony as well. 8th house is like a make or a break kind of a house when it comes to marriage, because it really is about your consumption is marriage. 7th house is your marriage, your spouse. 8th house, second from it, is your consumption, your bhoga. So quite certainly Saturn is going to help you fix your fundamentals when it comes to relationship matter. Momentarily that is going to improve. If you've had some friction, if you've had some issues, now it is a bit of better time on the relationship front. But this is going to bring in unnecessary changes, sudden events. So be prepared for suddenness in life. Be prepared for sudden obstacles. Eventually you will rise, right? Because it is a Vipreeta Yoga after all. Saturn is behaving as if it's making a transit in the sign of Virgo. So momentarily it is comfortable as well because it feels it is in the friendly sign of Virgo. Because Saturn has a very high amount of desire during this time. It has a very heavy 7th aspect on your 2nd house, which is the sign of Virgo. So Saturn wants you to look back and re-evaluate your financial position. Financial matters are going to be of priority. The power of Libra is helping you resolve and look after all your financial and family matters, because 2nd house also represents your kutumb, your family, your consumption, what you eat, what you consume. Your eating habits are likely to go through change, and that will support your transformational journey. If you were to change yourself, if you were to have good habits, you need to look at your diet. You need to bring or probably take the necessary steps and changes in terms of how you can fix your diet. You also need to look at how you leverage the power of labor to create a secondary source of income over the next few months. This could be quite a favorable transit for you. So you must look at strengthening your Lagna Lord Sun and your 8th Lord Jupiter. Jupiter is also your 5th Lord. It's a very important planet for you. This is the one who rules your future mantras. So any mantras that you use, it has to be related to Jupiter. I would advise you an Ashtakshari mantra, which is Om Namo Bhagavate Sadashivaya. Look up to him and he is the one who will protect you, and use other remedies to strengthen Jupiter. Consume saffron, consume turmeric, and you could mix it in milk as well if you like, or you could probably add it in your tea or coffee. This could be quite good for you. You can also consume jaggery in order to strengthen your Jupiter. That needs bal, that needs most strength. To improve your workplace situation, teach others, sponsor a child's education, look at donating for education related matters during this time from a karmic standpoint. Give some help towards the labor class, and there are certain donations that you have to make towards workers. This is something which could be very good for you from a karmic standpoint during this time, and I wish you the very best. Virgo ascendant signs or the Virgo moon signs. It is that time of the year where the biggest shift of 2025 is coming, when Saturn is going retrograde on 13th of July for 138 days. Saturn is a natural malefic planet. So natural malefic planets, when they go retrograde, it is not much of a severe problem, wherein for a benefic it could be, there could be issues that they might bring. But for a slow moving planet such as Saturn, its pace will further slow down. Momentarily it has picked up the pace. Now it is time for it to go slow. So one very important message that it is bringing for you is that you need to slow down. If you were to improve your personal relationship, if you were to improve either the chances of getting married, or if you were to bring in harmony in your existing relationship, in your married life, you need to take a pause and reflect on some decisions that you took in the past, and how you can take the corrective steps, how you can bring some improvement in yourself, how you can strengthen your Lagna Lord Mercury. in order to see that you are being very communicative, you are being very open, very transparent when it comes to relationship, you're not hiding things, you're being very truthful, and you also leverage the power of labor in your business, in your partnership, and in your relationship. This time period definitely could bring in some experiences from the past, last few months, some decisions that you took, or some interactions that you had with your spouse, your partner, or someone you're dating, and of course that could reignite, that could reinitiate. Maybe some of you could probably come across your ex, or probably someone you were dating in the past, or you were there with them in the past, and maybe you could have a reinitiation in terms of a conversation. This is the kind of time period which you could expect, because Saturn is your 5th lord and the 6th lord. So it rules your 5th house of mantras firstly. We also see unconditional love and romantic relationships from the 5th house. It is the house of children. So therefore we see future from the 5th house, because children is all about future. It's all about progress, positional success. It is the house that gives power, and with power comes corruption as well. So you have to be very careful with these matters. Saturn is also your 6th lord. 6th lord of daily routine, things that you do on a day-to-day basis, your debts, diseases, health and well-being, your competition, opposition, though Saturn shares a friendly relationship with your Lagna lord Mercury. So it eventually helps you overcome competition, overcome enemies based on its natal placement and the connections that it has in your chart. But being the 5th lord, it definitely holds a very important lordship for you. Saturn is in the 7th house, where it gains directional strength, or it is Digbali. Therefore, there are blessings of Devatas during this time, and it is quite a powerful Saturn. Firstly, it is directional strength. Now it is going to go retrograde. It will gain additional Cheshtabal. So it's got a comfortable sign strength, sign based strength, and very good directional strength. Now very good Cheshtabal as well. So over the next few months, Saturn is the most strongest planet in your chart. So it is going to bring in extremity with regards to 7th house matters. So you have to also be a little bit careful. You could probably vent out your anger, emotions on your partner, on your relationship. But if you stay calm and you keep your ego aside, this can really strengthen your relationship. This could be very positive in all these matters. Saturn is looking back at your 6th house. So it is an opportunity window for you to take care of your health and well-being. Prioritize that. Maybe you neglected a few things in the past. In the last few months, you made some decisions that were detrimental to your health and well-being. That would probably causing a disruption in your lifestyle. Now is the time for you to fix your lifestyle. You must go for a hospital visit in terms of getting yourself checked. A routine health checkup is mandatory, is necessary. You could have a continuous amount of stress, because see, when the expectations are very high from individuals, when Saturn is very strong from its position, of course it expects you to work very hard. It does not want lethargy, though you would probably choose to be lethargic. You would choose to probably stay home, stay indoors, stay isolated, because Saturn is aspecting your 1st house. But you have to take charge of the situation, go out there in the open and deal with others. Use the power of labor in businesses and in relationship. Saturn is looking back at your 6th house. You need to fix your daily routine, things that you do on a day-to-day basis. You will be able to overcome any enemies, any opposition over the next few months, but Saturn demands free will. Your power of labor should be used in your decision making, and these decisions should be driven by yourself with minimum involvement of the others. This is the key message that Saturn is giving you. When 5th lord makes a transit in the 7th house, it does form a nice yoga. Saturn has direction. This Saturn's behaving for 138 days that as if it is in the sign of Virgo, which is ruled by your Lagna lord Mercury, who is friendly towards Saturn. So Saturn is going to be in a comfortable position momentarily, as if it's in friend's house, in friend's sign, Virgo. It is having a very strong 7th aspect on your ascendant. It wants to bring a very strong change in yourself, your body, your personality, your thinking, your decision making. All of that. The power of labor is in yourself. You need to take care of yourself. Prioritize your personal interest. Put them in the center of attention. That should be your number one priority. Self-care is healthcare. Pamper yourself, look after yourself, your body, your vitality, exercise every day, eat right, and of course try to live a good life for yourself first, and then of course look after the other people in life. This is the very big message that Saturn is giving you. Otherwise, it could make you lethargic, it could make you lazy, which will bring sorrow in your life. So in order to minimize sorrow, in order to overcome your inner sorrow, you have to go out in the open, you have to take care of yourself over the next few months and strengthen your Lagna Lord Mercury by using a Vishnu mantra. You can use a simple mantra, that is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, which will improve your relationship and it will also improve your work related matters. Libra ascendant signs or the Libra moon signs. So what is happening on 13th of July, your Yoga Karaka Graha, that is Shani, Saturn, the coldest and the slowest planet of them all, but the most beautiful planet, is going to go retrograde or Vakri till 27th of November 2025 for about 138 days. It will move direct on 28th of November. So during this time, its pace, which is usually very slow, is going to become even slower. It's going to be extremely slow. Initially, in the first few days of July, between 11 till 13, it's going to be stationary. In the last week of November, again, it is going to be in a stationary position for 3 to 4 days. These are karmically very strong points and of course very strong times in terms of manifestation, in terms of leveraging the power of labor. And of course, Saturn demands us to work a little bit harder when it comes to these times when it goes retrograde. And the biggest message is Saturn is Karam Karak. It rules one Kendra house and one trinal house for you. It is the Yoga Karaka planet for you. It is making a transit in the 6th house of job in Pisces, of your daily routine, things that you do on a day-to-day basis, your health and well-being, debts, diseases, and of course your enemies, opposition, and how you overcome your enemies. Saturn is the natural significator of the 6th house. So it's not a bad transit overall. Momentarily, it would have brought in an increased pace in terms of your work, issues with job, unnecessary changes, because Saturn doesn't let you settle at one place. If you're going through time periods of Saturn, and of course if it is connected to any of your Dasha Lords, it is going to bring in changes, it is going to bring in movement. When it is making a transit in the 6th house, your 6-12 axis is pretty active during this time. So the key message for you is to slow down, because when Saturn is slowing down, it is asking you to take a pause, take a step back, reflect, and try to recharge your energies. See, Saturn rules your 4th house of your safe space, your comfort space, your mother, your homeland, things that make you feel happy, things that make you feel content, your safety, your security. It is the Sukha Bhava after all. Saturn also rules your 5th house of future, children, positional success, mantras, whether mantra based remedies will work for you or not. It is also the Rajya Bhava, because we see success from the 5th house. With success comes corruption as well. With power comes corruption. So you have to be mindful of those aspects as well. So Saturn is a Yoga Karaka, the most important planet for you. Its transit matters. 6th house is a comfortable position for Saturn. Momentarily, what is happening is when it is going retrograde, it is looking back at your 5th house. So some decisions that you took between February through April, you will have to reevaluate those decisions, or you will have to now implement your plan of action with regards to those decisions. Some actions where you made mistakes, you learned from it. This could be related to your children, this could be related to your home, your family life, this could be related to any sort of argument. It could also be related to litigation or loans. So these are some of the decisions that you will have to reevaluate, and this could come again, this could revisit again. However, when it is looking back at your 5th house, it wants a greater focus for you towards your children, towards your future. Excellent time to manifest things related to future, because your power of labor should be put in future related pursuits. Positional success, higher position, change in your job, because momentarily Saturn goes retrograde in the 6th house, it will improve its significations. It is behaving as if it is sitting in the sign of Virgo, which is 7th from Pisces. Momentarily, this is how Saturn will behave. And it is friendly, the sign of Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. It is friendly relations it has with Mercury. And this will also have a very strong 7th aspect. This aspect will be there in your 12th house, the sign of Virgo, which is the house of losses, expenditure, your higher self-consciousness, your ability to give others. Donations are seen from the 12th house. Your ability to be more self-aware is also seen from the 12th house. Your sleep, bed comforts. Saturn is about restriction. So it having a strong aspect on the 12th house would restrict your expenditure, would bring it down, would push you to make some important budget decisions. Future financial planning is very important over the next few months. Some decisions pertaining to your home and your children, your future, your love interest, romanticism is going to again reinitiate. Your sense of devotion is likely to increase. You will be very disciplined about devotion, about mantra based remedies, about your spiritual practice, because your 6-12 axis is pretty active. Saturn demands or asks you to fix your sleep. Get a good night's sleep to protect your health and well-being. Otherwise, there could be health repercussions. You could have minor health issues over the next few months. You have to take care of your health. Prioritize that over the next few months. Relationship is definitely going to improve because Saturn momentarily will behave very positive in the 6th house, which is 12th from your 7th house, which leads to ending of the relationship as well. So it would want to re-evaluate some of your decisions to try and strengthen this relationship. Those people who are looking forward to getting married or trying to find a partner, this time period could be favorable for you. You would like to re-evaluate your decisions pertaining to your work, pertaining to your job, because you would lack fulfillment, or you could momentarily have some opposition, authority issues, leadership issues. Look up to Mercury. See, Saturn is making an connection with your 12th house, a very strong sense of aspect. You need a Dwadashakshari mantra, which is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is something which you should use. This will help you both for work as well as relationship. If you have work related issues, use this mantra during midday time. If you have relationship issues, then use this mantra in the evening time. This is how you will probably be able to channelize these energies. It's an excellent time for spiritual growth, spiritual knowledge. Make sure that you have 30 to 45 minutes of a fixed routine, something that you're committed to, something where you can bring in a sense of consistency. This could be yoga, sadhana, meditation. Anything spiritual is a must have during this time. Scorpio ascendant signs or the Scorpio moon signs. So what is happening? Karam Karak Shani, Saturn, the slowest planet, the coldest planet of them all, is going to go retrograde in Pisces on 13th of July, and for 138 days Shani Maharaj is going to be Vakri or retrograde. This happens every year, it's nothing new. 1/3 of the people in this world will have a retrograde Saturn. So if you have a natal retrograde Saturn, you will have most impact. And of course, if Saturn is connected to any of the prominent houses, if you're going through Dasha Antardasha of any of the planets in these houses, you're likely to be impacted by this transit. So Saturn for you is your 3rd lord and the 4th lord. So it rules your 3rd house, which is the house of valor, courage. We see siblings, particularly younger siblings, co-borns from the 3rd house. Your efforts are seen from the 3rd house. Your communication is seen from the 3rd house. This house is also the Upachaya Bhava, so it represents growth. It represents change. The very first change is seen from the 3rd house itself. 3rd house is also the house of desires. It is the house of lust. Saturn also rules the 4th house of your happy space, your comfort space. Sukh Bhav, things that make you feel happy, that make you feel content. Your mother, your homeland, your sense of protection, where you feel most safe, most secure. Now Saturn has been making a transit in your 5th house in the sign of Pisces. In 5th house, which is a trinal house for Saturn, it doesn't do really that well, alright. The remedy here comes from Mars, who also seems to be your Lagna Lord, Lord of the Ascendant. So I would encourage you to read something good. Any chapter, anything that gives you a good knowledge, exercise, workout, right? I would highly encourage you. The best remedy for you could be to read Bhagavad Gita or to read any book, which probably your religion indicates, that gives you some good learning, some good message, that teaches you about karma, actions, because towards the end of the day, each and every religion gives the same message. Do your karmas, do your duty, right? That is something which is most important. Okay. Now in your 5th house, when Saturn is going retrograde, firstly, it will bring back some past connections. You would like to reconnect with maybe your old people, or someone you had a love affair in the past, someone you were closely connected in the past. So you would like to reconnect. You would like to come across people who you had like intimate relations in the past previously. So this is good. In case you've had some distance with your children, this is also a good time for you to reconnect with your children. So you'll have more closeness, you will have more proximity, more close bond towards your children, right? This is something which is good. You have to keep your ego aside. This time period could make you more grounded, right? Because see, there are no shortcuts to success. You cannot follow the path of corruption, right? Because we see corruption from the 5th house as well. And if you are in a political environment, you could get influenced very easily. So this is a time where you have to be very careful of other people, right? So that you don't have negative influence. Now this time period, Saturn is going to be looking back at your 4th house. 4th house of your comfort space, your safe space, your homeland. You will suddenly get about homebound. You will try to make a lot of changes in your house, renovation, you will try to move things around. This is a perfect time to leverage the power of labor at your home. If you work from home, make some changes in your desk. And this is actually a good time to start working from home, to start something at your home itself. And a very good time to declutter. Take out all the old stuff and give it, donate to those who need, right? Because Saturn does positive when there is cleanliness around. So this time period, you have to maintain cleanliness, you need to maintain hygiene, and that is something which you have to do it yourself. Saturn demands you to bring in a sense of mindfulness in your life. So you will have a sense of uncertainty momentarily, but you need to follow a spiritual discipline, have a regular practice, 20, 25, 30 minutes of yoga, sadhana, meditation. That is most important for you if you were to increase your mindfulness, if you were to enhance your strategic thinking, meditate. This will probably open your mind. This will help you realize your potential, and do not underestimate yourself during this time. Because when Saturn is in 5th house, we should never underestimate, because you have the power of labor and Saturn is the kingmaker. This could probably help you reach a certain rank, put you in an authoritative position over the next few months. You can have a nice work related progress. Now the 7th aspect of Saturn is on your 11th house. So your 5-11 axis is pretty active, right? So Saturn is behaving as if it's in the sign of Virgo, which is friendly to Saturn. Saturn is having a very strong 7th aspect on your 11th house. So it supports income, it supports material gains, but you have to strengthen your Lagna Lord Mars. Make sure that you're very active all through the day. Make sure that you connect with your siblings in case you have. Make sure that you connect with your children. For those people who are looking forward to having a child, this could be a favorable time. If there are some delays, if there were some issues, some problems, now you will get solutions to those problems. Remedy Mars, strengthen your Lagna Lord in order to make the most of this transit. Sagittarius ascendant signs or the Sagittarius moon signs. So what is happening? Saturn, Shani Dev, Shani Maharaj, the most beautiful planet and the slowest planet of them all, is going retrograde on 13th of July, which means it is going to go even more slow, right? Its pace is already slow. It's like Gajagati. It moves at its own pace. It gives results when it wants, not when you want, but it will give you what you want if you leverage the power of labor. This is a very important message of Saturn. So it's going to go very slow. It will initially be stationary. Later on, when it goes back in direct motion, end of November, it will be stationary again. These are very strong transitions when it comes to from a karmic standpoint. A retrograde Saturn does bring unfulfilled purpose from the previous birth with regards to matters related to the lordship of Saturn and its placement in your natal chart. And if you have a retrograde Saturn, you will face the most effects when it comes to this transit. If you're going through Dashanta Dasha of Jupiter, Mercury, Saturn, Sun, Moon, you are going to have an impact. Even Mercury, you are going to have an impact during this transit. Now for Sagittarius, Saturn becomes your second lord and the third lord. Second lord of your family, your wealth, Kutumba Bhava, your accumulation, the wealth that you accumulate, the things that you accumulate and store. It is the storage space. This is something which no one talks about. It's your consumption. First house is yourself. Second house is what you consume, your bhoga. Saturn also rules your third house of valor, growth, change, your co-bonds, particularly younger siblings, your effort, desires, because this is one of the karma trine. So we see a sense of desire, your learning, Guru Upadesha, blessings or message of your mentor or a guru is seen from the third house. It's your third lord. Whether you will get those blessings, messages really depends on the placement of Saturn and how it will work for you. What kind of relationship will you have with your teacher or your guru is really dependent on Saturn. Now this Saturn has already been making a transit in your fourth house of happy space, comfortable space, your Sukh Bhav, the place where you feel most comfortable, your home, your mother, your homeland. Of course, it's a Kendra house transit of Saturn, so it will bring a lot of fundamentals. Saturn's discipline, power of labor. So the power of labor next 2.5 years is trying to fix your fundamentals because primary knowledge is seen from the fourth house. So this cycle is all about fixing your fundamentals. Now Saturn is going to go retrograde or Vakri. Momentarily, it is going to be looking back at your third house. So it wants you to re-evaluate your efforts. Some efforts that you put in the past, certain communication and your relationship with your sibling. So that is going to be the center of attention. You would re-evaluate your efforts, whether this gave you the desired outcome or not. And if you have an action plan, now you're going to go ahead and implement this action plan. Things will be slow. See, Saturn demands a bit of slowness. There's a lot of fast-paced environment already at your home. Maybe a lot of things would have been happening. Now is the time to take a step back, slow down. Mindfulness. You need to reflect and introspect, rejuvenate, and that is how you will recharge yourself. Saturn will help you step out of your comfort zone. The power of labor is at your home. So make sure that you're absolutely very active in your home because there is no scope of lethargy. Saturn could make you lethargic because it has a slow pace. That's how the energies are. But it will work very well for you. The time when you spend at home, you have to be absolutely active. It is looking back at your third house, increased efforts, power of labor, change, journeys. Journey doesn't necessarily mean that you will go on travel, but you can start something new as well. But yes, this time period could bring in short journeys that could be successful, that could bring in a sense of mindfulness, that could help you financially because Saturn towards the end of the day is your second lord. One of the key message for Saturn is Capricorn, which is the second house of your sign, is where your wealth is, your family is. Second from that is Aquarius, which is the Mool Trikon, office space of Saturn. So the key message of Saturn is whatever work you do, that has to be towards your family because your second house, third house, fourth house, they're active. Second and fourth are very much related to family. Third is your effort. So anything that you do to increase your wealth, that has to be used towards your family. So any spending that you're doing from a karmic standpoint, increase it. That will be good for you. If you increase your spending towards the family, you will have more wealth. You will have more support from a financial point of view. Saturn is going to be behaving as if it is in the sign of Virgo, which is friendly to Saturn because it will have a very strong seventh aspect. When a planet goes retrograde or Vakri, it has a high sense of desire due to high Cheshtabal. Therefore, it is going to be aspecting your 10th house by the 7th aspect of desire. So, your 4-10 axis is pretty active. You need a sense of balance in your family life, home life and work life. Saturn has a high amount of desire. The power of labor is at work. New opportunities, bigger opportunities, better projects that are more aligned to your personal interest. It is not about what you have been given. Now it's about what you want, what you desire. Make sure that you give and you express your opinions. You cannot be in a sense of isolation anymore. You cannot be quiet. You cannot say yes to everything. You have to express your opinions because if you don't express your views during this time, you would be suppressed. You could be overloaded with work. You could be given unnecessary projects or assignment that could increase the load further. So make sure that you have a good expectation setting with people who hold authority at workplace. And if you speak up, if you communicate, it is going to work well for you. Strengthen your Lagna Lord Jupiter. Make sure that this is the planet which you are strengthening, which will give you a high sense of satisfaction and mindfulness. Capricorn ascendant signs or the Capricorn moon signs. So your Lagna Lord, Lord of the Ascendant, Shani Maharaj, the great Saturn, Shri Shanishchara, is going to go retrograde on 13th of July. And it is going to be in a retrograde motion till 27th of November 2025. So for 138 days, Saturn is going to go retrograde or Vakri. It is a very important point from a karmic standpoint. So Saturn's transit always would matter for you. This is always important for you because it's your Lagna Lord. It's also your second Lord. So one important message for Capricorn ascendants. Capricorn is the own sign of Saturn. It's its home. Aquarius is Mool Trikon sign of Saturn, which is its office space. Capricorn is also associated to graveyards. Saturn likes to be at those places, right? Because he can't afford to live in luxury, to live in posh places. He likes those kind of places, right? Where the cost is low. Now, Aquarius is the Mool Trikon or office space of Saturn. Aquarius' symbol is a man carrying a big vessel of water and climbing the mountain. Extremely slow, extremely hard working. And these are the kind of places that Saturn loves to work. The key message is, since its office is second from home, it wants you to work for your family, towards your family. As long as you have that thinking, as long as you have that kind of action, success is guaranteed. You will have struggles like anyone else. Everyone has struggles, their share of life. And of course, last couple of years, you would have tough times as well. You would have good times as well, depending on your dasha and the dasha. But this is the key message. As long as you orient your attitude in a way that you are working towards your family, towards your well-being. In case you don't have a family, you're working towards yourself, your loved ones, right? Saturn is your Lagna Lord, Lord of the Ascendant, the ruler of yourself, your body, your vitality, your immunity, who you are, your intelligence, your decision-making capability. It is also the second Lord of your family, your speech, Kutumbha Bhava. We see your sense of accumulation. It's your storage space. And therefore, it is accumulation of wealth. It is accumulation of resources. It is your consumption, what you eat. And that supports your health and well-being, your vitality. Saturn has been making a transit in your third house, in the sign of Pisces. Now it is going to go retrograde. Saturn in the third house, your Lagna Lord in the third house, second Lord in the third house, supports efforts. The power of labor is in the house of efforts, change. It is going to make you move places eventually. Change places, shift of residence is highly likely, journeys are highly likely, starting something new could be very good for you. And any efforts that you take, eventually you will see the outcome. So do not shy away because the power of labor is in efforts. Now when Saturn goes retrograde, it is looking back at your second house. It is looking back at the house of your family. So you have to firstly reflect at some decisions that you took which were related to either your efforts, your family or yourself in the last few months and re-evaluate those decisions. And most importantly, put your implementation plan in place in terms of from a strategic point of view. What changes can you bring in? Now it is looking back momentarily at your second house, so it wants you to use the power of labor in your financial management, in adopting good healthy eating habits, because otherwise you can indulge yourself in a number of things to protect your health and well-being, to protect your life and of course your sense of well-being, your habits and of course your lifestyle. You will need to bring in some changes in your dietary requirement and make sure that you look at some long-term investment related decisions over the next few months. This Saturn will momentarily behave as if this is Saturn in the sign of Virgo, which is a friendly sign for Saturn because it has a very high, very strong 7th aspect when it goes retrograde. So from your third house, it is aspecting the 9th house. And this is the only aspect I am stressing, because momentarily for 138 days, this aspect will be very strong because of high Cheshta Bal. And in the 9th house, the power of labor is looking at your house of fortune, Bhagya, long journeys. Travel is inevitable because your 3-9 axis is pretty active. And when Saturn demands, it gets. So it demands journeys, it will make you go on journeys. Go on spiritual retreat. It could be an excellent time for you. Do a Rudra Abhishek. This could be a very good time for you for any kind of spiritual practice, spiritual discipline. If you are a student and pursuing higher education, this could be a very good time for you, condition you get the right teacher, mentor or coach. Saturn in the 3rd house doesn't do very well unless you get a guru, unless you get a mentor. The moment you get a teacher or a guru or mentor, your life can transform. It can change 180 degree for good, because this is the time when you get a nice sense of direction and guidance. Make sure that you reach out for guidance, because any guidance that you get for someone who you trust won't be bad for you. You might need to mend relationship with your father. Make sure that you reach out to them and you are being very communicative with your father as well, because this is where you will have to listen to him as well, and his advice will not be bad for you. 3-9 axis, when it is active, this can make you go on journeys as well. See, fortune is very much favorable. You just need to strengthen your Lagna Lord Saturn. Light a sesame oil lamp if you do prayers in the morning and also in the evening to channelize these energies to the most. 3rd house also represents your hands. Journal. Use the power of discipline in journaling, because this is where it is going retrograde now, and you have to channelize these energies to the best of your abilities. Aquarius ascendant signs or the Aquarius moon signs. Your Lagnesh, Lord of the Ascendant, Shri Shanishchara, the great Saturn, is now going to go retrograde. So this is for your preparation. It is going to go retrograde on 13th of July and till the end of November, till 27th of November, it will go in retrograde motion, and then 28th of November it will go direct. It will stay in the sign of Pisces. It is not changing signs. It will reach till 0 degrees of the sign of Pisces. 138 days it is going to go Vakri, which is 1/3 of this year. It is a very strong time from a karmic standpoint. This Saturn is bringing in a big shift, a huge shift. Though the pace is going to be slow, the shift will also take time. Nothing will happen fast. The big message of this transit is, please slow down, take a pause, reflect and introspect. This is how you will recharge yourself. This is how you will rejuvenate, because Saturn towards the end of day rules yourself, your ascendant, your body, vitality, your immunity, who you are, your intelligence, your decision making, and of course your outer self as well. 1st house and your Lagnesh plays the most important role for, of course, any ascendant. Saturn also is your 12th lord of higher self-consciousness, your ability to be more self-aware. How aware are you about yourself would really depend on the placement of Saturn and the kind of connections it makes. Whether you're highly active or you're lethargic, there could be two extremes in this case, would depend on the placement of Saturn and the connections it makes. It could bring extreme moods as well. Of course, that will depend on the placement of Saturn. Now, this Saturn is going to go retrograde in your 2nd house of family, your Kutumbha Bhav in the sign of Pisces. This house represents your storage space, your accumulation of wealth, resources, the people who you would like to protect, your sense of protection. And the first, of course, and foremost people who you would like to protect is your family, obviously. And this is why we see family from the 2nd house. This house also represents your consumption, what you consume, what you eat. Of course, Saturn demands discipline in your consumption, in your diet over the next 2.5 years. This is quite an optimum time to bring those changes to help you transform, because Saturn in the 1st house makes you lethargic. As soon as it moves to the 2nd house, oh, that is a message, right? He's coming with a stick. Now is the time that you better change your eating habits and you better bring your lifestyle on track. That's the biggest message. In second house, when Saturn is going retrograde, it is looking back at your ascendant. So momentarily, please stay away from lethargy, because between July through November is a slightly sensitive time which could probably make you lazy, which could make you lethargic, and this is something which you have to overcome yourself, right? Though it will help you reevaluate some decisions, some actions that you took. So it will be a reflection time between February through April. If there were any major events, some major decisions that you took, you will have to reevaluate those decisions, or you will have to take corrective actions. It could be related to yourself, or it could be related to your family or your finances. So these are the three areas that would be your priority. Now, when it is looking back at your ascendant, firstly, it wants you to bring in the power of discipline in your life, right? Of course, it might push you towards lethargy, make you lazy, complacent, but that's not the solution. Make sure that you stay active. Make sure that you look at Mangal. In spite of Mangal having an inimical relationship with the Lagna Lord, Mars is your 10th Lord towards the end of the day. Make sure that you have an active routine. This time period is an important aspect to focus on your health and well-being. Your knowledge, your education, that needs to be a priority, something that you must learn over the next few months. And most importantly, some previous health related matters can become a bit concerning now. So something could probably come back and you will have to resolve it. You should be in a position to resolve it, because this time period looks very supportive from a health and well-being point of view. Saturn, being your Lagna Lord, making a transit in the second house, now going retrograde, is a clear message for you that you need to manage your finances. Cut down on your expenditure. Your 12th Lord in the second house, the Lord of expenditure, making a transit in the house of wealth and money, income. Cut down on your expenditure, do budget management. Financial planning is the need of the hour. This Saturn will behave as if it's in the sign of Virgo momentarily, because it has very strong 7th aspect. While making a transit in your second house, it is looking at the 8th house, the sign of Virgo. And while sitting in the second house, it is behaving as if it's in the friendly sign of Virgo. So it's a comfortable placement for Saturn. But its strong 7th aspect is activating your 2-8 axis. July through November is the time of transformation. The best results that you can get, but it will need more effort, maybe 4 or 5 times more effort. But this time period, Saturn's aspect is on the 8th house, which is transformation. For you to deal with suddenness, because it's your Lagna Lord, so it will protect you from any adverse events, from any changes. There could also be a change of residence, change of place, because this house also represents places that are far off across the seas. And if you're already overseas, this could call for another change or shift of residence as well. You might get inclined towards Jyotish and other hidden subjects that need a lot of research. Use Saturn's Mool mantra, that is Om Sham, in order to channelize the most of these energies, and use a Vishnu mantra to increase the strength of your Mercury to deal with these times. That could be a simple Vishnu mantra, that is Om Vishnave Nama, in order to make the most of this transit. Pisces ascendant signs or the Pisces moon signs. So what is happening? The great Saturn, Shri Shanishchara, is going retrograde in the sign of Pisces, which is happening in your first house, your ascendant. Saturn recently entered your ascendant a few months ago, and now it's that time of the year when it will go retrograde. Saturn had really picked up the pace, though it is relatively the slowest graha of them all. When it goes retrograde, its pace will even slow down. It will be extremely slow. The first few days between 11th till 13th of July, it will be stationary, which is a very strong Saturn from a karmic standpoint. Towards the end of November, again it will be stationary, which is even more stronger because it gains additional Cheshtabal. It is bringing in unfulfilled purpose from the previous birth, and if you have a retrograde Saturn and prominent dashas that you're running, you're likely to have the most impact during this time. Now Saturn has been going through in your ascendant. First house, Saturn is supposed to be Maran Karak, or it is a death-like position. But this Saturn is also forming a yoga because it's your 11th lord in the ascendant. Alright, it shares a friendly relationship with your Lagna lord Jupiter. Momentarily, during its retrograde time, it is going to behave as if it's a Saturn in the sign of Virgo. So firstly, what's happening is Saturn rules your 11th and the 12th house. So 11th, Lord of gains, your wider social network, your friends, also your enemies, bigger opposition, worldly matters, material comforts. 11th house is the Ayabhav, which is the house of income, your material success. It also represents weaknesses. Illusions are also seen from the 11th house. A sense of fulfillment is also seen from the 11th house. Saturn also becomes your 12th lord. 12th lord of losses, expenditure, your higher self-consciousness, your ability to be more self-aware, the power of giving, the power of donations is also seen from the 12th house or 12th lord. Your spiritual ability, moksha bhava is the 12th house and Saturn becomes moksha karak for you. Now, first house where Saturn is making a transit is about yourself, your vitality, immunity, your body, who you are, your intelligence, your decision making capability. So, it's an important house, it's an important transit. Saturn brings slowness in these matters, and of course, it is for greater good because it wants you to slow down. If you don't slow down, it will force you to slow down, it will push you to slow down. And when it goes retrograde, it is even a greater and important message for you. So, this Saturn behaves as if it's in the sign of Virgo, which is the 7th house in your chart. And Saturn has a very strong aspect on the 7th house because it has high chestabal, high sense of desire and a very powerful 7th aspect, and this is the only aspect I'm going to talk about. Of course, it will continue to have 3rd and 10th aspect as well, but this aspect is relatively stronger. Saturn will behave as if it's in the friendly sign of Virgo. So, the power of labor is in your 7th house, your marriage, partnership, relationship, your spouse, your ability to deal with those people who are opposite to you. If it is Maran Karak, it goes retrograde. So, momentarily you are getting a period of respite for 138 days because this Saturn is going to work well. Because it was negative, now something negative happened, negative and negative becomes positive, right? So, this is something which you must remember. So, you need to fix matters related to your relationship. It is bringing in relationship karma. If you're looking forward to establishing in a new relationship or getting married, this time period could bring some success, some progress in terms of finding your soul mate, in terms of finding someone who you connect with at the soul level, at the personal level, because Saturn is in your ascendant. This Saturn is also looking back at your 12th house. So, firstly, you will reflect, you will try to take some corrective steps in terms of some decisions you made a few months ago, and now is the time for you to progress in a spiritual manner. Spiritual upliftment is the need of the hour. This is something which Saturn promotes because the power of labor is coming in your 12th house. So, firstly, it will restrict your expenditure. Saturn is restriction. So, if you don't control, it will force you to control your expenditure. Make sure that you do some financial planning, financial management, because this is your 11th lord going retrograde in your ascendant and looking back at your 12th house. So, once you control your expenditure, make sure that you prepare a budget exercise. If you have some important decisions pertaining to investment, pertaining to your finances, that could probably take a back seat. Not the most ideal time to make significant changes in your life in terms of starting new events or probably stepping into a new role or a new job or a job change. I would advise you to stay where you are in case, of course, you get a nice opportunity. Why not? Go for it. This will also depend on your ongoing dasha antardasha, but this time period is extremely important for you to focus on your mindfulness and spiritual practice, your spiritual ability, your sense of devotion. Strengthen your Lagna Lord Jupiter. You can do that by mantras. A simple mantra, that is Om Gurave Namah, will be very good for you, and you can chant it at least 12 times every day in order to channelize this Saturn appropriately. Make sure that you give some donations. Saturn is your 12th lord, so things related to Saturn, if you donate black dal, black chickpeas, sesame oil, mustard oil, these are some of the things that you can donate from a karmic standpoint, or as if anything, any donations that you make towards the labor class. It doesn't matter what you donate, your intent matters. It doesn't matter the value of your donation, but the timing and the intent. These are the two things that matter the most from a karmic standpoint, and you do not need to talk about this to the whole world. Keep it to yourself. Donations always need to be secretive, and this is how it is going to help you uplift yourself spiritually, bring some changes in your lifestyle. There is no scope of extravagance and indulgence. Fix your fundamentals, focus on your health and well-being over the next few months. This is a time of respite for you where you can make some key decisions. Not decisions related to your change, but decisions related to how you're going to lead your life in 2026 and 2027. That is most important for you, and I wish you the very best. So friends, this was yet another unique but detailed video on Saturn's upcoming retrograde transit in the sign of Pisces. I hope and believe Saturn's transit brings in a greater sense of devotion and our ability to help each other, brings in a power of labor in attaining spiritual enlightenment and spiritual progress. Stay tuned for more interesting videos on my channel. Thank you very much. God bless you all.